This is Quest of Life. We are a not for profit offering free online peer support groups, and this is a demonstration of a facilitated group. So keep in mind that your experience might not look and or feel the same as this streaming group. Not every group can be the same, as every facilitator is different, and so are the group dynamics. That said, if you'd like to join a support group, you can join us through questoflife.org. And if you want to support us monetarily so we can run more free groups for more people, please also do that via our website, questoflife.org.
I've started. What's up, everybody? How are you guys doing?
Fine, good.
Oh.
What happened last week? It's a lot of meetings. My sister visited, and yeah, just felt very busy. In a good way. But then also because there were many meetings, and as I was like ramping up networking, projects are happening, and I'm feeling a little bit overwhelmed. So my topic was going to be how to keep up with talking to people, but like not get too much going on at once. Because it feels like when I'm not talking to people, nothing is happening. And then as soon as, yeah, like whenever I go back to reaching out to people, then too many things are happening, which makes me recoil and stop talking to people altogether. And then it's just a loop. Yeah.
Raymond, you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. My week has been mostly calm. I've been thinking a lot about last session. Like, one of the main takeaways for me was like, be okay with the conversation going either way. Still struggling with that because I'm definitely not okay with the conversation not going well. Um, yeah, I think that would be my topic for today.
I think mine is similar to Anne and Raymond's. It's like in the middle ground of, I don't know, just when I interact with people, there seems to just be a lot of responsibilities, and it's just a lot of work. It feels like there's a lot of work. And when I'm alone, it feels like things are good. It's more of a relief than like a relaxing. Um So it's like on one hand, I get pissed off if I'm with people, but then on the other hand, it's like, okay, well, it's just more like a burnt out state or just being far away from the source of the anger part. So then it doesn't really help. And I think it has something to do similar to what Raymond is saying of not okay with the conversation going a certain way, which leads to me having a lot of control over the situation, which leads me to be angry about the situation. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah, that's my topic.
Could you repeat that last thing you said?
Yeah. So I think there's something to do with me not okay with conversation going a certain way, which leads to me having a lot of control over situation and responsibilities, which
Mm.
then leads to me being angry because it's a lot of work.
Yeah, that's fair.
Leaning towards Mars's topic.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing. One, because it's in the middle, and two, it seems like a topic that will go a lot of places.
Yeah, it feels like if we can support you to solve this problem, it will solve our problems as well.
That would be nice.
Ooh. I forgot to mention this, but Pam's sick. That's why we're down a member. Yeah. So Mars, would you like to take it away? What about the topic would you like to talk about? Or if anyone has questions about it, you can toss those in too.
Yeah, that would be helpful because I don't really know how to enter the topic.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if there's a recent experience about this.
I think almost any time I interact with somebody, there's this like yeah, there's just this struggle internally, right? Of like, what am I supposed to do here? Like, even if I like interact with a stranger, let's say, then how am I supposed to act kind of comes up as a question. And technically, the answer would be okay, authentically be yourself. So, okay. Then the next question is like, how do I feel about the situation? And what does like authentically be yourself means? Like, I kind of know what that means. But then let's say I'm like really angry or like I really don't want to talk to this person. There's certain amount of like I can't say no in this interaction that kind of occurs. It's kind of like you lock eye with an empty scene Pokemon, right? Like you're you're just locked into the battle, and even if you want to click like leave, you still need to like be in that interaction of like, okay, I need to try to leave then. Like I can't just like disconnect. Like, it has to still be a conversation.
So as soon as you talk to someone, you're kind of trapped there.
Yeah. Because you're supposed to have conversations, right? Like, if this could be my avoidant type, just that started becoming a. It was like, okay, then I'm like locked into like there's an obligation of like communication.
Where did that come from that you're supposed to communicate?
Yeah, like it feels like there's a society expectation, right? Of like, let's say if you are hanging out with your friends, like it's hard to just like leave halfway. But technically, yes, like I can like exert my will and just stand up and walk away without saying a word. Like technically that is so true. Um, but that's also like not true, right? In the same vein of like your friends would be then like, what's going on? And you can further ignore that and keep walking away, I guess. But like that's also like you're gonna ruin the friendship. And then there's gonna be like things said about you, like unhealthy attachment, like, oh, okay, she's being avoidant, which I'm like, fair, I guess. But what if I just like really don't want to talk to the person? Like, how do you differentiate between I just don't really want to do it, or it's unhealthy of me to like not communicate. But I think there's like judgment there, right? Of like she's blah 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 blah.
And earlier you said as well, if you don't want to talk to this person because you're like not in the mood or something, you still will have to have a conversation about that.
Yeah, like otherwise it'll be rude, right? And even if I leave, the person might still like chase after me or whatever. Which I think maybe it's fair. Like it's just hard to tell like where's the rules, right? Like so if I'm authentically being myself, I would just walk away. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if I walk up to someone and they walk away from me, I get why they would might feel hurt if I just walk away. But at the same time, like no one is obligated to talk to another person. But then there's also a sentiment of like, oh, society is now so disconnected because people are so cold, right? Like there's lack of community or whatever.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're
So
trying
like,
to
what the
preserve, trying to do the right thing, like what society is like trying to. Yeah, but like the cost of that is you're sacrificing your what you want. Follow the rules.
yeah. And it's just so difficult to like, even though the original premise is like, okay, be yourself. Like that is like most important part in socializing or just living in general. But then once you loop into a conversation with somebody or like when there's people involved, then there's certain degree of like, okay, how to situate yourself, what you compromise on, and then how do you in some ways survive this interaction.
When you said like the like be authentically yourself also is a rule. Um, I was that reminds me of how it's in in the East, it's not encouraged to be yourself. The rule is you do what's good for the other person. Um, feels like in the West they're more of the be yourself and be confident, but at the same time, you still have to preserve like how relationships supposed to work. Like be, yeah, confusing.
Yeah, like no matter what, there's like this overarching like rules, right? So if you want to be yourself, then you can be yourself in the East. And then it's like vice versa, the other way around. But yeah, that's what's been pissing me off lately.
What you thinking, Brandon?
So I can't say much about these, but like my interactions in have been kind of what you're describing. Like, there's definitely a way that people find pleasant to interact with, but also like it feels, I don't know, inauthentic, I guess. I do definitely relate with like wanting to walk away, but if you're going to walk away, then that's going to cause more conversation, even though what you want is less conversation. because like, well, that's the reason why you're walking away is because you don't want to talk for a little bit. Um, but yeah, like it makes it so hard that you can understand both sides and there's no clear answer, which also frustrates me. Because like as the friend who's like watching someone else walk away, I'm like, oh man, like I want to be there for them. But as the person walking away, I'm like, I need some space. I don't want anybody to like I want some space. So like, what is the correct answer there? Like, do I give them some space and let them like sit on it for a bit and then reach out after a while? But what if that is exactly the thing that makes them uncomfortable, you know? Because like they just want to leave it behind them or something. So that's where my head is at. Like I'm questioning like what the more comfortable way of ending that scenario is, I guess.
Thinking
Like
about how. Oh, go ahead.
I wanted to turn it into a question. Like after you walk away, what are you hoping for that happens, Mars?
Yeah, it's interesting. Like a part of me just like in some sense want to be forgotten. Like just like I didn't exist. Like I it's just like the what's that movie called? Like the one that you flash the person and then the person loses his
Men
memory.
in Black.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's like we never talked. Like that's legit how I wanted the interaction to go sometimes. Actually, sometimes most of the time. I'm like, we never talked. I don't exist. But then like and then I can like come back in at times of like, like we can continue a conversation if I want to. But it's like completely unreasonable. And I'm like, that's not possible. But like that's kind of what I want.
What's wrong with people remembering what just happened?
Yeah. So then there will just be like further storyline. Like this D&D campaign will continue because of this. It's like I mentioned I moved to a new place. Thus, the more like natural course is, oh wow, I'm gonna come by sometime to hang out because I've never seen your new place.
How do the people in your life uh, cope with, tolerate, regulate, like disappointments or stuff adjacent to that? Hurt.
I think they tolerate it decently well. I think at least. I don't really know
Interesting.
the norm, to be honest. But I think I have said no a lot of times. And I think that's more than usual people do. Like there's actually a huge acceptance range. But I also know like the acceptance at some point will end. Like I'm gonna overspending my budget on no's.
Interesting. So it sounds like there's like a building impatience or hurt.
Yeah, that's how I see it at least. But I could be wrong.
And is that the thing that's causing you to be unable to be yourself? Is like you know that this is you've used up one of your uh like I feel like there's an excellent analogy here somewhere. It's like you have a limited. Yeah, I'll just use lives. Like you've used one of your lives.
Yeah, there's only like a certain limited amount of time I can say no until it's like, okay, like, do you even want this friendship?
And is the answer to that yes or no?
I think the level of friendship I want is different. Maybe. Or maybe I do want the friendship, just not not those things. But I think they want those things, which makes sense too. Like it's not a tall ask to like come by my place. But it is a tall ask in some ways.
Yeah. Like I would never let someone in my house. If I- I've I think I've only had 2 people in my house ever. Or friends, I mean. Yeah. Yeah, but it is a tall ask for you.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like things adjacent to that, right? Like it could be, hey, like let's hang out whatever day. Like, are you free next week? Then in my mind, I'm like, oh man, I was planning to be have like a chill week, but now it's like, and it somehow fit it in my schedule. But it's like not a bad thing, right? Okay, if somebody want to hang out with you, it's like, okay, that's a great thing. Like I can also like understand it, but I also have to fit it in my schedule and make it work.
I see how your brain is trying to pull you both ways.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like, you know that you don't like certain things, but then a part of your brain is like, but that's not bad that they want that. So maybe it's okay.
yeah. And sometimes even during the interaction, right? It's like, okay, like this is okay, like socializing. Ooh. Uh, Sometimes I get tired at the end and like I want to leave. But I think it's also on me sometimes where I don't notice when I'm tired from an interaction. But then afterward, I feel it. Then I'm like, crap, I wanted to leave like actually earlier. But yeah, it's just so complicated. I'm like, I do want it, kind of don't want it. Uh, Hard to put my finger on like where I should land in like these interactions. And technically, like I can blow up the relationship, right? Just be like, no, I don't want to go. No, I don't want to do this. um, or I can kick it down the can, which sometimes I do. Of like, maybe next time, like maybe next year.
Yeah, it feels like what you want from a relationship is like a rare mixture. Like I'm thinking of like things that don't usually mix, but sometimes they do. Like a I don't know, like a liker or something. Like 2 animals that don't usually like coexist having a baby. And it's like, oh, this is like a rare thing.
Yeah, but I also then like doubt, right? Like, is it like what is going on with the system, and like why is this my preference or is this something going on underneath?
What could be underneath?
Yeah, so I think preferences wouldn't feel this way. Like, I prefer the color pink over blue or something. If the house is blue, like, I wouldn't be this upset. But perhaps it's always blue, and that's starting to piss me off because I feel like I'm not prioritized. So maybe it is a preference thing potentially. But yeah, it just feels like other people are okay. So like what's going on? Right? Like what makes it so difficult to have like connection with people?
Well, it sounds like most people don't sacrifice as much as you do. It sounds like every time you interact with a person, there's a sacrifice because you're not allowed that for the interaction to be what you would like it to be. So there's like some
Yeah.
sense of disappointment when you're around people.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I think the other party would say the same thing, right? Like, oh, I sacrificed a lot for Kim.
Well, yeah, that so with them, you are potentially the only relationship that does this. But with you, every relationship does this. It doesn't sound like you have a relationship where you're able to like fully be yourself. And your wants are like actually met.
Yeah. And I think because I'm so burned out, like from people, that like it's so hard to have enough for like interactions.
How do you think you get to a point where you are no you are no longer burnt out?
If I hermit for a year, I was thinking about that, but I don't really think that would. I mean, I might, but I don't know if it's A, realistic, or B, even solve the situation.
One way to find out.
True. Yeah, it's possible one way to find out. But I think it's difficult because my job like requires talking a lot. So maybe when it's financially feasible, it's possible, but yeah, maybe. Who knows?
It's
I'm
rough
thinking
that
probably. Oh, sorry, just a quick note. Probably my job has something to do with this.
I was gonna say, sounds like your job is burning you out.
I think it is possible. It's interesting because there's some weeks, some days I really feel like energized from my work. But there's also some days and some weeks where I'm like, I really don't want to do this. So it's similar vein, right, with like the social interaction that. But I think it's probably there's weeks where I cannot opt out, which then makes me feel a certain way. Yeah, maybe I do have to take a longer break or something then. Is what I'm thinking. But it's hard. I don't think I've taken like longer than 2 weeks off.
It feels heavy to be in situations where you need a break or you need a way out and there isn't any.
Yeah, there's not much way out.
Well, it does sound like there are ways, but the rules that you are abiding by remove that exit. Like, you feel an obligation, you know how to opt out, but you don't feel like that path is actually accessible. Like, it's a door, but it's not a door.
Yeah, there's like just too much fallout that I had to deal with.
Yeah. And like that pattern seems like pretty common for you of um, trying to protect the future you from the fallout of your authenticity.
Yeah, there's just like too much fallout like afterward. But I have been trying to embrace all the fallout because like it probably meant to be. But there's a feeling of like I'm actively destroying my life by like just letting things go.
The really high costs for a break. Is your life falling apart?
Yeah, you know, now that I think about it, I think I'm more authentically myself, like as I go on this like self-development journey. And there's more like the cost to be myself turns in certain parts in my life becomes more and more high cost. Like before, it's like a little bit easier. Okay, like I can stop hanging out with like this acquaintance that I don't really care about. But now it's like bigger and bigger cost of like, okay, now I'm a really, really different person. And I want like different things from people around me and from my job as well. Which leads to more conflict, which leads to if I don't voice it out, then like I'm really trapped in a situation because like I kind of let myself to be trapped. And I'm like redoing my progress, but I'm not really redoing my progress because I already have the progress. So therefore, I'm just like trying to mute the part of me that already has the progress. Like I can't go backwards. So like the only way out is forward.
Yeah, it seems like there's a conflict there.
Yeah. It's like I have to keep going forward then, like in some ways.
Reminded of like a lot of stories of people who do have to make this this choice to destroy their life to like rebuild a new one that would fit them better. Yeah, that's hard. And usually, yeah, it was between like, do I just keep going with what I've already built? But now I'm not that person anymore, or I just kill it all and see what happens. But then you don't know what's going to happen on the other side.
Yeah, like I guess in some ways a gamble.
Yeah, and it seems like you're conflicted on that bet. Like you kind of want to take it, you kind of don't.
Yeah, interesting. As I talk about this, I'm more and more comfortable with just taking a gamble.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just
Because
like fuck it.
like it feels like we're talking to like the authentic you, which doesn't get as much space to talk as the I don't know the other one.
Yeah. Mm, I think the other part of me like doesn't really want to change because like it's scary, and then it's
Yeah,
also just a lot of potential shame and fear and like things going wrong.
yeah, that's the conflict I was mentioning. You're like gamble, and then this one's like our house is on the line. Why are you wanting to gamble?
Yeah, so this is probably related to what happened yesterday, where I was hanging out with uh, a lot of my like high school friends, which we often hang out, I would say. Well, often as in once a month or once every few months. But like I was more authentically myself, which means I filter my words less, which means sometimes I would say things that I didn't really think about. Like I'm not processing as much. And then afterward, I will have shame attacks. But then when I was in the car driving home, I'm like, I don't think any of what I said was bad. And I think I'm like overreacting on like how the other person perceive it. When like I actually think it's fine. Like I don't think the other person think anything of it. But even if they have, like it's not like inherently bad. But yeah, like confronting that is kind of difficult at times.
I don't have a better word, but it's crazy that means that your whole life you always filter what you say.
Yeah, it's interesting. So my number one filter is usually, can the other person handle this? Like that is a very prominent one for me. It's like it's either if it's a joke that the other person might find awkward and like cannot like catch, like like they're gonna fumble the joke, then I like, okay, let's not say that one. Let's say something different. Or if I'm gonna say like an emotion and I know the other person like would feel awkward or like can't handle it basically, or it's some like an emotion they shy away from, then I would also not say that like that certain thing. Because I know like the difficulty level is like too hard currently for them.
You're doing kind of their job at managing their feelings.
Yes. Yeah, like because sometimes like the things I say, so like let's say like, the topics I talk about today, right? If I like talk about it with my friends, they really wouldn't know like what to do about it. They would like probably jump to like solutions or whatever. Like not out of like malice. And I'm not like mad about that, but it's more like I really know it would make them feel uncomfortable. Reminds
I
you of the
relate
best in
to.
conversation too. Anyways, you go.
Oh, I was just gonna say I relate to this.
This caretaker dynamic.
It's more like yeah, in my case, the flavor is I don't want to piss anyone off because people, like to me, if people get angry, they will get violent, is how my brain perceives the situation. And so I also manage people's emotions by choosing very carefully what I say. It's gotten better this year. Um, yeah, in December, I don't know what happened, but my brain decided just after one night that I would just try to say whatever and then see how people react. And I noticed that nobody notices that I don't care as much about how I say things anymore.
Interesting. I did see that like you're more open, like you talk more.
Yeah,
Recently though. That's just what I noticed, but
yeah, yeah. Recently, because this switch has happened like last year. So this year it like came in and out. Sometimes I would still remember I'm anxious, but then other times I'm like, this worked before, must work again.
yeah, for me it's a very 50-50. Well, maybe actually the percentage is higher. Um, Me saying no lost me a lot of friendship. So I think I remember, right, like the experience in itself. And me talking about things that are too complicated also lost me a lot of friendship. And then also me feeling certain ways and then like trying to communicate it to the other person lost me a lot of friendship and relationship. And then me not having emotions, right, and trying to like talk about it in a more logical sense also lost me a lot of friendship and relationship. So then like me having emotion and being authentic is important, but that also leads to a lot of me losing a lot of friendship and relationship. And so things are kind of complicated. But I guess maybe losing them is like the exact like thing that natural cost of like life.
That would make sense if you just choose to not be yourself to preserve relationships then.
Yeah, I feel like if I actually be myself, I'll have none. Like for real. I actually think I would have none. Like if I be myself.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, like on one hand, like I resist it slightly, but then on the other, I'm like, maybe that's a thing that I come to accept. But it's interesting of a conclusion to come to, right? Like, I'm like, okay, how much of this conclusion is valid if I'm like accepting that I will be alone because I'm myself?
How do you feel about it?
Yeah, a part of me is like, I feel sad about it, of course. Like, okay, like the relationship and the friendships that I want is like non existent. And then on the other hand, it's like a little bit grounded that I feel like because this makes sense, like logical sense. Not that me being alone, like not that part, but it's just like that makes sense. Like if I am more and more myself, then there's less and less people I vibe with, and I will have more and more conditions and boundaries, and I'm like less okay with like certain things. That's so interesting because this is the exact outcome like I was trying to prevent for many years of my life. Because this is how I felt in my childhood, I remember. Because I think this way, even when I was really young. And then like I saw like how much my family and like yeah, my family specifically, like how they feel about me thinking in this pattern. Because they're just like this walking around me like I'm an abomination. Because they don't know how to deal with me, which I'm like kind of valid.
No.
Yeah, I don't think it is, but then I also think it's valid from like they haven't thought about things this way. So they're
It's
like,
understandable, but it's not valid. You are
all
a
right,
child.
understandable.
You are
Yeah,
their
we're all
child.
good. Yeah, like understandable that they don't really know how to like interact.
Yeah, but that's not fair to you. You were a child. They were the adults.
Which I also agree, yes. I think a lot of things that happened in my childhood was very, very unfair.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so then if things happen in my childhood was unfair, then I have to like figure out ways to make it fair.
Mhm. A lot of work for a child and make it fair for the adults.
Yeah, it's like a lot of caretaking, which is probably where it spawned from. Of like, how do I be less? I disagree with the sentiment, but then it's like, oh, how do I be less of a pain in the ass? So then, like, it works for them.
Yeah.
Wait, why did it have to be fair? Why couldn't it be unfair?
Yeah, technically, I mean, for majority of my life, like, I just kind of left it be. Like, I guess when we talk about unfair, is it talking about like them not understanding what I'm saying? Like, I guess yeah, like, I'm kind of confused on what the usage of not fair even means.
That they saw you as an abomination.
So then, to make it fair, then like I'm trying to act like I'm not an abomination, right? Is that how we wording things?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, in some sense, I think it's for me as well. Of like, well, actually, no. Yeah, with my it's interesting. Like with my family, I actually just act like an abomination. Like I really don't care. Like there's times where I'm just like, wow, that's very unhinged. Like people would feel ashamed on that, but then I'm like, no, I don't really care. Like you can have your reaction because you're wrong.
I feel like for uh I thought that was an interesting question, Raymond, because it reminds me of how different it is when I compared my experience, which is more similar to Mars's, um, where I just grew up in that environment and I needed to make it fair so that I wouldn't be abandoned. Um, but then for someone I know who grew up in the West, it, for him, he just let it, he just knew when he was a child that his parents were the problem. I never knew that until way later. So I wonder what the difference is. Like, why would a child know that they are not the problem, but it's their parents is the problem?
I knew they were the problem very early on.
Hmm.
Like I remember when I was like 5 or something, and then like my mom was really angry about some random bullshit. And then I'm like, "Oh," in my mind I'm like, "Oh, you're not mad about this. You're mad because you want to scare me into respecting you."
Hmm.
And then I was like, "Okay." So then but I can't really submit to that because if I submit to that, that would be a bad idea. Because then this is like a condition thing, right? She would then be like, "Okay, every time I I can get my way if I'm angry with her." So then I just decided to not have any uh facial expression. But I'm also not ignoring her because if I'm ignoring her, it'll escalate. So I'll just blank face and go, mm. So it's not a yes, it's not a no, but it's an acknowledgement of what you just said. It's like just the middle ground where you can't get more pissed off with me, but you also didn't get what you want.
Hmm.
And then I just decided to act this way for the rest of my childhood and life because I'm like, you can't get what you want, and I won't give you the satisfactory to get what you want. But you also can't escalate because no, you're fucked unless you act right.
So my sister is just similar. Hmm.
Yeah, and there's times that she would be like, "Oh, I don't like you." Well, actually, no, she doesn't even say that. She's just like, "Why do you put your hair up? You look like a what is it called? Either you look like a homeless person or a prostitute." I forgot what she said. But I was like 7 or something. I had like a ponytail. That's basically it. And I was like, "Okay, so." And then she said like, "Okay, so." She's like, "Yeah, like you look stupid." I'm like, "Okay." And I just stared at her. I'm like, "Okay." And I'm like, there's no way I just checkmate you. There's no way, there's nothing you can say now. You have to tell me you don't like it. If you don't, I am not, I'm like, there's nothing you can do. But then she doesn't process. That's what she's thinking. She's trying to use a right argument to get her way. But she doesn't notice that. So then she just like drop it. She's like, wow, like if you're fine with being a stupid idiot, then like whatever. And I'm like, okay. And we pass. I'm like, and this happens so many times throughout my life. But that's probably pissed her off more because I have zero regards of her like opinion at all. Because to me, I'm like, it's not deemed to be respected because you have no clue what the heck like you're feeling. You have no clue like what you're trying to say.
How did you feel when she said that to you?
I think I did feel like hardened, like slightly, like in my heart, I just like hardened, like oh, this again. Like I'm a little bit bracing. Like, how do I navigate this? What do I want to do here? It's very controlled, I would say. Like even when I was really young, I'm like, what do I do here against this person? Because this person is a little bit dangerous. So I can't just be vulnerable and like feel my feelings and like, you know, talk back or whatever. This is like she's trying to provoke me into my authenticity, which is me being angry like a child would, or me feeling ashamed, or me feeling sad or whatever, right? It's like, oh no, I am a stupid person. It's like that's what she wants me to feel. So then I need to go with the opposite side, which really helped in my adulthood because I'm very prone to like I'm very aware if someone is even slightly trying to manipulate me. So it's helpful, but like it's also like a little difficult.
Yeah, I'm speechless as at what your mom said to you.
Yeah, and then afterward she just stopped like saying things to me basically, and then start like speaking behind my back instead. Because speaking to me is useless. So then the only thing she can do is like have a gossip party like behind me, right? And then just like can't believe this happens. Can't believe she's doing this and doing that. Like she has a lot to say about people I dated like back in the days. But like she would never say it. Like and she would say like, "Oh, I love your cats" and stuff like that. I'm like, "I cannot trust your words." And behind my back I heard like, "Oh my god, like Kim is so close to, or Mars. Mars is so close to like the cats and then like sniffing and like them, and it's like a bad idea for health purposes." I was like, yeah, okay.
It's interesting that like it seems like the people who need you to take care of them, they you actually don't take care of them, but the people who are in like more of a middle ground, you take care of them a lot. Like your mom is desperate, take care of me, and you're like, no, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, like she would deliberately like fall in front of me, like in a metaphorical sense, like again and again, and I'm like, it's been like 20-ish years. It's never happened. It won't happen. But you still try because you got your way with other people. So that's why you're doing the same thing to me because you don't know how to change because other people enable you to do this kind of behavior. But when it comes to people who are like more quiet, right? Like they're not trying to be a pain in the ass, and they're not trying to like they just have needs.
Yeah.
Then I have more like compassion.
Yeah, I think Anne said something earlier that reminded me of this. But there's a Patrick Teahan video who he's an excellent YouTuber. I highly recommend him. But he said something about like if the person or the parent is a monster, it's like a lot easier to not care about that relationship. But the more of like nuance this person has, the harder it is to actually heal that. But if they're just like an absolute asshole, like it's actually pretty easy to be like, yeah, that's dad, he's an asshole.
Yeah, which is like where attachment comes from, right? Like if you have attachment towards the person, so everybody have nuances. I think it's just the degree that you're attached to the person leads to you seeing more nuances and harder to leave.
I'm not following that. I'm not following that. Can you explain that a little bit in more detail?
Yeah, I think it's just if you like the person more, you tend to try to see their nuances more. Because in some ways, like, you're able to empathize with them. But then there's also like a part of you that like want to see more than what they are. Because you don't want to leave. Right? It's like a very common thing of like, oh, like this person doesn't treat me well, maybe even like have like abused me, but like I can't leave. Like this person is sometimes wonderful and loves me very much. Both is true, but you would weigh the other one more because you don't want to leave. Which leads to me being very decisive, which is also a bad thing. But like, okay, I am deluluing myself into staying. So if I like detach, then I'm able to make a decision much easier. It's like a more logical, objective
Right.
choice.
Yeah, because it would prevent you from getting stuck because you're okay with leaving.
Yep. And I'm always leaving. Which leads to another different part. Like, I don't like being trapped in this situation. Because then I'm like settling for less, and then I'm also like suffocating myself in order to like maintain.
Interesting. That rule it's interesting how sometimes you are like in unison with yourself that you're allowed to break your rules. But then other times you really want to and your wants actually don't matter.
Yeah.
Criteria for
It's hard.
that is.
Yeah, because it's hard. Because the moment I decided to be myself, it's usually the moment I leave. So I think I'm connecting the two together in some ways, right? Of like, if I know my boundaries, if I know what my needs and wants are, and it's not being satisfied, thus I leave. So then I think I'm like unconsciously like scared of being authentic to myself as well, because usually it leads to like rupturing of like people around me. Which is probably true because if I came in to the friendship with a pretense that's not me, thus when I suddenly become myself, leads to rupturing the relationship. Like that start is already incorrect. Which sucks. It's like the cycle of trauma, right? In a sense, because like there's a reason why I entered with a pretense. Because I don't want a rupturing of relationship, because I've experienced a lot of rupturing of relationship, which leads to me inevitably rupturing relationships.
Hmm. So not being yourself is to cope with the fear of rupturing a relationship.
I think so.
How do you feel about that solution for that fear?
I think I do feel sad about it because it just feels like there's just a feeling of like, okay, I'm like destined to be alone kind of vibe. But I don't think that's true. I think it's just more like if I haven't showed up as myself yet, I haven't really given it a shot. I only gave it a half shot. Or a 75% shot or 25% shot, and then comes to the conclusion of like things won't work out. Which makes sense because that's like 100% of my experience.
It's interesting that your cat comes into frame because I was thinking, like, why doesn't some of this apply to your relationships with not humans?
Yeah, I mean, but then there's no departure, right? I mean, technically, the cat can leave through the front door, but they also wouldn't.
Why?
You're stuck with me, kind of thing.
Is they're hungry?
Yeah, in some sense. Like, I don't treat them horribly, but yes, sometimes I get pissed off and annoyed, right? Like when they're annoying. But, um, yeah, like they're not too annoying. They're okay annoying. And usually the obligation is like giving them pets, giving them food, playing with them. And sometimes playing with them is like optional. So I can opt out and opt in for that.
Yeah.
Because I have two cats, they play with each other. I outsource the work by getting two cats.
Yeah, it feels like you actually have an option, which doesn't sound like the usual. Your options are based on preservation, usually.
Yeah, but I think even for my cats, right? Like a part of me is like I do want to move to another country, but I can't. I've semi-accepted that, I think. Of like, okay, I can't until they're gone. Then I can go off to Asia.
I did want to do a slide pause because um yeah, because this topic was a middle ground between Anne and Raymond. So I wanted to check in with either of you two.
You go first.
Oh, okay. Let me think for a few seconds.
That's the second time he's been told to go first this session.
You can say no.
I can say no, it's true. Yeah, yeah. I feel obligated to because I haven't spoken that much this session. Um, I do see a little. I don't know if it's a lot or a few. I can't decide. Um, like how much I relate to that position because like it's an entirely different situation, but I can see a few similarities with like wanting to be yourself, but like I guess being afraid that being yourself will make you end up alone. Um, or like how much of being yourself is allowed with the current relationships that you have, and also um, the weight of the current relationships and how much like filtering and how much like the rules of life dictate how you should act at all times, even when you're feeling rough or when you feel fine, like it's easy. When you feel rough, it's very difficult to to live the rules of life. There's a lot of stuff that I'm struggling with as well. Yeah, just a difficult position to be in. I am not really sure where to go from here.
For me, I had a so when Mars shared um the part where like yeah, relationships just feel like a lot of pressure. It's a lot of things that she has to do. I'm thinking about how I also view talking to people similarly, where everyone is like a to-do list. So like I meet this person and I have to follow up. Like I have to ask them like what's going on and keep up with everything. It's a lot. And because I wasn't thinking about my situation, I had a thought about Mars as like if you don't enjoy talking to these people, maybe don't. And so I'm taking that for me, where I guess if yeah, I would try to remember to follow like what's fun about talking to people and stick with that so that if it's not fun, then I can just let it go. So that would already like one, make it not a chore, and then two, make it less overwhelming because now there are less tasks to do because there are probably less people to talk to.
Cool. I'm not sure where to go from here, but we got like 15 minutes left.
Show people your
Cat,
face.
did you figure out a name?
Yeah, Boris. Boris the Russian.
Boris. I like it.
I feel like the whole session was me, so I don't know if either of you want to take a little bit more space.
Raymond, you said you yeah, you're struggling with this and you don't know where to go, like what to do about it.
Yeah, yeah. I would like to connect this to another topic, but that's probably not going to happen in 15 minutes. Um, I guess the thing that I would like to take a little bit of space for is I have no idea where this is going to go. Um, if you want to be authentic, and that's scary, what are like the possible ways that you could still be authentic, I guess? Like one could say, just go do it. But like that is such a leap of faith, and I don't trust myself nor my environment to handle that well.
Yeah.
So like I'm like it I feel like in reality it'll be more of a gradient, like slowly build up towards being the true authentic self that I feel I want to be. And then like my environment will slowly adapt to it. Maybe my brain is a little too like result focused where it's like, oh, this is where I want to be. And it's like, well, like the difference between here and there is like so massive that it's unfathomable what'll happen.
Do you have a someone or somewhere that's safe enough for you to try?
I think at this point I do, yeah. It hasn't been without friction though. There are times where I am myself and it's completely fine, and there are times when I am myself and it's completely not fine.
Mm.
And like, there's no clear answer or on whether me being me is going to be fine in the end. Like, I understand that like there are parts of me that people that like. So even with the person I trust the most, if I'm completely myself, there are parts of me that they absolutely love, and there are parts of me that they do not like. And like, I cannot make a equation in my head that like tells me whether this is fine or not.
I think it won't be fine if you're not fine with the outcome of things turning wrong.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of the things where I would never be happy with the bad outcome.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I think that's the hardest part because that is like the exact potential of, in some sense, of like what it could be and maybe even what it should be.
Do you
I
think
think
it's
that's the hard
still
part.
yeah? Do you think it's still possible to do it despite not being okay with the bad end?
I was gonna form that into a sentence. Where yeah, so for me, I'm thinking because certainly there are gonna be outcomes in my life I don't like, but how am I gonna cope with that? So then I start from there, and my answer for me is regulation skills to process my feelings, and then it'll go somewhere.
That was the Mars, right? I keep accidentally saying Mars and Mars.
I thought that was to Raymond, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Oh, I thought Raymond's question was to you,
Oh, I see.
and
I was
Anne
like,
was like saying, I agree with that question.
Yeah.
oh, I thought Anne already gave her input as well of like being okay with it not being okay. Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think legit Anne like said what I wanted to say in terms of like that regulation, right? Of knowing that you'll be fine even though you'll be very sad.
I'll just give the list that I thought of. So what was your question, Raymond, that I'm responding to? I wrote down a bunch of stuff, but I don't remember the question.
Do you think it's still possible to do something even if you're scared of the bad outcome?
I think it's possible to still do something. I was responding to the question you asked like 5 minutes ago. That one's a different
I
question.
don't remember that one.
Let me think of that one. Is it possible to? I think it's a lot higher likelihood for you to um, violate yourself if you do that. It can have a good outcome. It could also have a bad outcome, and you can because essentially you're pushing past your own boundaries, and when that happens, you can violate yourself. You can put yourself in situations that are really bad.
I think it's hard either way because both ways require you to violate your own boundary.
Yeah.
Because you're staying in a situation that's not good for you, and then speaking out, it's also like too scary. And I think uh I would advise even myself sometimes of like, what do I really value? Because if I really value like being true to myself and being my own ally, what does that even mean? And what action would I take if I really got my own back?
How does that help?
Because then I know the decision I make isn't wrong.
Oh,
And I
right,
know I
like
will
that.
be fine no matter what. Even if I'm like very, very sad. Even if I'm really, really scared. Even if it turns out like horrendous. I know I have my own back and I won't backtrack on the decision I've made. That even if this person is not with me, I'm with me.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important to have unison within yourself. If you don't have that unison, everything gets harder. So
But I think it's hard because like sometimes those exact people that you want to say like something to, it's the person you gave a part of you to. Right? Like you rely on the other person to like agree in order to stay whole as a person. So the moment you like rock the boat or like rupture it, like you need to like somehow scramble and like feel okay again and later, even though you're missing that part.
Yeah, I guess it's just verifying what I already knew and have trouble accepting.
Yes.
which is what?
So like, I'm kind of like, well, I'm problem solving this for myself and being like, are there any other ways that I could do this that are like less scary? And it's
Yeah, that
like,
was the thing I was responding to. Okay.
it's like, no, not really. It's like being authentic is like, you can only really do it one way. Like there's an amount of like you can filter towards someone else, but I feel like deep within you and like your decision making and all that stuff, like being true to yourself is like I think like that's a yes or a no question.
I disagree. I think it fluctuates. I think when you are completely alone, you are more likely to be yourself. Not 100%. But like when I'm in the shower, I'm pretty me. I don't mask. I think it's a spectrum.
When you say fluctuate, like what do you mean, I guess?
The more I hide of myself, that is the spectrum. Like even when I'm with my cat, I do hide parts of myself because I could see he really wants me to play with him. I don't want to play with him. I have to bury that. But when I'm like by myself in complete isolation, I feel more myself because like there's really no consequences.
I have a slight different interpretation, I guess. Like I think that would exist. So then in some ways you do know ultimately it's a yes or no answer. So there's like a single truth, right? Of like, no, I don't want to do this. But it fluctuates because of the amount of mass you put on. But I also think if someone has like when someone isn't sure who they are yet, that you could be this person and you could be that person, that's where the choice fluctuates of who do I actually want to be and who am I actually? And what would align me to person A or person B?
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
don't know who you are, then that's a whole other thing.
Yes.
Because I have a lot of certainty with who I am.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I resonate with what Mar said because that was me. Feel I've had to parse through like whose values is it that I'm holding? Is it mine? Is it someone else's? I have no idea.
For me, if I don't have those values in isolation, then they're not mine, most likely. There is a caveat with that, but if I'm by myself, do I care about I don't know, making uh Italian food in an authentic way? No. But if I'm with Italians, they get really pissed off if I don't make it the right way. So my values shift. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
hard.
my parameter.
Yeah, I think some people multi-class. It's like Baldur's Gate. Like you have either you solo class, right? So you know like okay, I am this is my destination. But then for like myself, it's like I could be a healer, but I could also be an assassin. Really depends on how I feel that day. You know, do I be a dick here or do I like be really, really, really nice? And that like occurs in isolation as well for me.
Interesting.
So it's like choose my own adventure. Like one part of me would choose this, and the other part of me would choose the other thing. So now what do I do? Now this is like the I don't know how to say it correctly. Schrödinger cat. It's like is the cat in the box or not in the box? I haven't. I don't know because I haven't opened the box yet. But I speculate it could be or could not be, and I need to figure out by like approaching the conversation or uh try to even like initiate so then I can actually find out through the flow of conversation because I actually don't know how it's gonna go about the other person and about me. Like I remember having conversation with an ex partner of mine, and it was a serious conversation. I didn't approach it very seriously, but I said like like this is what I think it's gonna happen. Like I'm not too sure how this is gonna go. And then as the conversation progressed, I'm like, oh, I'm breaking up with this person. And I didn't even notice I'm breaking up with this person until like, oh, like, wait a minute. I want to break up with this person. And then I broke up with the person. So I didn't even know until like the conversation progressed. But I could also see like the conversation going the other way of like, I brought up this thing and then like things actually got better. I'm like, oh, we actually got to the point.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Like that is like I just don't know how to say it, but like that is what I mean with what when I say like be true to yourself. Like I don't know when following your intuition is like the right thing to do. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to say it yet. And also like it's interesting. Like, I'm gonna have to ask myself the question, like, do I have my own back if I were to do this thing? I think that's a very good question.
Yeah. And if I don't, like, why is that? Like, why am I jumping to a different party?
Cool. Thoughts on the session? Feelings about the session? Anything?
I feel good. I liked it.
Cool.
I also liked it. Felt like I was thinking that the amount of thinking and sharing I did, I like.
Yeah, I like the session as well. I had a bit of trouble connecting, empathizing with Mart's story. I feel like I've been quiet most of the time. Um, but this feeling is offset at the end, where I could like speak a little bit myself. Uh, yeah, there's just a lot of stuff to think about.
How about you, Jake?
How was the session? Let me write my note first. How was the session? Or that wasn't the question I asked. Do I have any emotions about the session? No, it was okay. Any thoughts? No, nothing really. I think it was a good session. Yeah, seemed useful, I guess.
Yeah.
Cool. Any uh comments in Twitch chat?
There are a few messages. Oh, yeah, you want to do it this time, Anne?
Oh, okay. I'm just reading from what Tom sent in. What are the things you would do in relationships that you don't allow yourself to do at the moment if you didn't worry about those bad outcomes?
Is that question towards me? Who?
I think so.
Oh. Yeah, so I think there are things I want and need that I would express a lot more, like, okay, I need space, or hey, I don't want you to come to my home, like maybe in the summer, all these different things. But it feels like it's not allowed, or they want to have certain conversation that I don't want to have. But perhaps like that's more like on me of like setting out a criteria, right, of what I can or can't do than like them setting it out. But I think their reaction hurts me, which then leads to me trying to prevent myself feeling hurt. Then their criteria becomes my criteria. Oh, Tom says everyone.
Yeah, Raymond, do you want to answer that too?
Could you repeat the question? Is it like what are the things you do?
You would do if that you're not allowing yourself to do at the moment, that you would do if you didn't worry about the bad times.
I feel like I would talk a lot more. I would bring up a lot of like the topics that I find interesting, but other people don't really want to talk about. Like if I wasn't worried about bad outcomes, I could just talk about whatever I want.
Yeah. At the moment, I think I'm saying everything I want. Um, my filtering is like, do I say this? Not quite. Doesn't base a lot on the other person anymore. More like what I think would be good to be said, just for my own satisfaction. Especially, I've been talking to like strangers, so new people. So the slate is clean. I could just establish a new me. So it feels safer to try to just say whatever I want.
My criteria shifts depending on the relationship. Like if it's a work relationship and I have this person as a client, uh, yeah, the things I want to say, I mask different things essentially. But I think the most common theme is I would either just like walk away from the person as they're talking, or uh, sometimes I get like weirdly touchy for some reason. Like I just want to like put my hand on their shoulder and then not acknowledge it at all because I think it's funny. Um, yeah, I would just allow my humor to flow a lot more because uh, my humor can be very light and very dark. And when the dark stuff doesn't land, it feels really shameful usually. So I try to like mask a lot of the darkness. Yeah, I would probably allow my humor to exist more. I would also just like, if I don't like something, I would just like walk away or stuff like that.
Can relate.
This sucks. Later. And I just walk away. You're annoying me. Bye bye. Stuff like that. Why are we talking exactly? Yeah, I guess it's actually my judgments. I'd allow my judgments to flow. You said there were a couple comments.
Can't see the comments. So random.
Yeah, like the other thing I wanted to say is like someone said, and pets rarely dull unwanted fashion tips or gossip, which I thought was a good one to call out.
I have no idea what you just said.
Me neither.
I thought
I
you
don't
were
know.
speaking their username, and I was like,
Oh.
is this Russian?
Their username is EricMeme007, and they say, and pets rarely dull unwanted fashion tips or gossip.
Ah, yeah.
I still don't know
Yeah,
what
there's
was
more
said.
acceptance. Oh, what do you say, Anne?
Oh, I still don't understand.
Yeah, it
Oh,
was in regards to me, like, talking about the pets and, like, you being yourself more. And, like,
Okay.
this person was saying, like, yeah, the pets don't give, they don't, like, talk about fashion stuff.
they don't judge. There's more acceptance.
Yeah.
They can't talk. More like
They try. It doesn't work.
okay.
Oop. That's it? Nothing else?
There's a
Basic.
new one if we want to keep talking.
Sure.
I wonder how often we end up stuck in a conversation where both people just want to nope out of there. I feel like at like birthdays or parties or social gatherings, this happens a lot. Where there's like 20 people and 8 people are kind of like, you know, low energy, but they still feel obligated to like hang around until they're like completely exhausted.
Yeah. I'm thinking of family gatherings. Everyone is there by obligation. Nobody wants to be there. Customer service calls.
Yuck.
Yeah, out of politeness, I would assume. Anything else? Otherwise,
That was it. There's nothing else.
Radical. Well, I guess we'll see maybe next week, maybe not. It's unclear at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Ciao.
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 Okay. I like that word. I haven't thought about using that.
Thank you for watching. Again, if you'd like to join a support group similar to this, you can join us through our website, questoflife.org. And if you'd like to support us with our mission, please consider donating and or volunteering. You can also do that via our website so that we can run more free groups for more people. Thanks.